All right, it is 3:01. Sorry for the late start. Kind of multitasking today, but welcome back. It is 3 o'clock on Thursday, and it is live at Epiphan, your favorite online entertainment / technology / information show.
Yeah.
Now, today we're going to be doing a really fun episode. Actually, this is Zoe, our summer intern, but first off, let's do the splash screen. Live at Epiphan. So we're broadcasting live to today Facebook. Not Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn Live, thank you,
Twitch.
And Twitch as well. So we've got all the streams going. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about Adobe Lightroom treatments and some tips and tricks for your cameras. So today I'm joined with Zoe, and Zoe is our summer intern. So she's joining us from, what university do you go to again?
I go to George Brown College in Toronto.
George Brown College in Toronto.
It's
And
really
you're
fun.
actually going to be leaving us pretty soon to go back to school?
Yeah, I am. In September 1st-ish.
Oh man, it's gonna suck. All right, well let's take a look at the chat. See who's showing up today for the episode. Make sure I've got the right window going. Oh, Linda's in there. Linda says hi, Zoe.
Hi, Linda.
Is Linda gonna behave today? What do you think?
I don't know.
You don't know?
George isn't here, so I don't know.
George isn't here, so there's no one to no one to wrangle her. And of course, Tim Trott is in the chat as usual. Tim's on the road. Tim, are you driving and watching the show? Because that's great. Love to hear that. You're so dedicated. Hopefully you're not. Hopefully you're sitting in the passenger seat.
I forgot my glasses and I can't read the comments on the screen.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I'll read them out loud.
Okay, cool.
Now, Stefan is also tuned in. Stefan's tuning in all the way from Germany, and he's saying hello. And yeah, no George today. George is on the road. He's actually doing some training for some union folks down in California to learn how to use one of our Pearl products. So that's pretty cool, so that we can get that into more spaces, and it's kind of put together a really cool training program to roll out more education for our users. Danny. So Danny, today will not be specific to video graphics. We're actually going to be looking at some tips and tricks for still photography.
You can also use them on videos, though.
That's true. Yeah, actually, that's really true. I took a course when I was down at NAB, and one of the really cool tricks that I hadn't considered for developing a LUT was actually bringing a still from your video into Photoshop and then using Photoshop's tools to do some auto color correction. So color correction that would be really challenging to do in Premiere, you can do it all in Photoshop. Yeah, use the auto correction based off of whatever's white on the screen, so kind of like what you would do for auto white balance on a camera. And then you can export that from Photoshop as a LUT and then bring it into Premiere. But no, sorry, Danny, that's not what we're going to be talking about today. And then Daniel Wright. So Daniel, thanks for tuning in. You're tuning in from Gillette in Wisconsin, I think. WI, is that Wisconsin?
Yeah.
I would guess. Yeah, Washington's WA.
Yeah.
Gnomes McGee. I think we need some more explanation on that, Linda. Who is Gnomes McGee? Is this a character that we did that I've already forgotten about? Probably. I'm going to take a look at Facebook real quick, see if there's any comments on there. And I've only got a couple of viewers on there. Looks like, we've got a comment from Bruno Lavos. So for some reason, Facebook's not letting me port through our comments on the screen. But Bruno, thanks for saying hi. And as you can see on my Facebook, that's not not what I was looking for on there. But thank you for tuning in. And it looked like George's dad was actually encouraging one of their friends to tune in as well. So hopefully he's watching so we can learn a little bit about doing some treatments for his photos. And Gristle Y. Daniel Morales saying hello from Massachusetts. So thanks for tuning in on Facebook there, Gristle. All right. So we've got some cool news today. We've got a birthday as well. So one of our longtime viewers today is actually celebrating a birthday. Tell us who is celebrating a birthday today, Zoe. Do you remember?
Faithfulness?
Faithful Mess.
Faithful Mess.
So Faithful Mess is actually celebrating a birthday today. Look like on her Instagram she got a pretty cool birthday gift. So hopefully next week she can share a little bit more on the chat about that.
Yeah.
I would say that's maybe like a 23-inch iMac, maybe, right? So that's pretty cool. Or
thought
maybe
you
it's
were gonna
not.
say
It's
the
just
price.
like maybe just the box,
Yeah.
and it's just the empty box, and there's something heavy inside. But big happy birthday to Faithful Mess. She's not watching the show today.
No, she's
off
out with friends.
enjoying her birthday with her family.
How
so
rude.
Kind of selfish of Faithful Mess. Just kidding. We'll catch you on the show next week. Now let's get into the news.
Yep.
So we did have a contest going on Instagram.
We did.
Zoe was running that contest for us. How many entries do you think we had for the contest?
I think
And then
around
times it by
like
10.
3,000.
3,000 entrants. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
No, like 30.
30? Okay. So we did have a contest on our Instagram page. We're pretty new to Instagram, so we've only just kicked that off since Zoe started working with us. She's producing some really cool content on there, so some behind the scenes for our live show, some photos, as well as some stories. So if you want to learn more about a few of our staff members here at Epiphan, we've rolled out a few staff member interviews, as well as some behind the scenes content, and as well as some traditional kind of Instagram-y content. But what were we giving away in our
We were
contest?
giving 3 Webcaster X2s away.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, these webcasters are great for someone that's just starting out in streaming. We've got a really cool built-in function within the webcasters where you can just set it to go straight to your YouTube, straight to your Facebook. There's a few other platforms you can do on there, and it's actually a really cool interface. It's really simple to
really
use,
simple.
and it's great for folks that are just starting out. Now, who is our first winner?
Morris Young.
Morris Young.
Yeah, he's
so
a YouTuber.
He's a YouTuber. I found a photo on his Instagram. It looks like he set up like a live streaming ILR backpack or something.
Yeah.
So
And he said he was going to make one for one of his friends who's a YouTuber if he won. And he luckily won.
sweet.
Yeah.
So he's gonna make another backpack
Backpack.
for his buddy using the
Yeah,
X2.
yeah.
Sweet. Well, hopefully he's
Really
not
cool.
charging him for it, but that would be pretty cool to see. And Morris, if you're watching the episode today, and we'll definitely ask you for this, or I think Zoe's already asked, but we want to see what you're doing with the X2, so send us a few photos, send us a video of it in action. That'd be pretty cool. Our second winner, and excuse me if you're watching and I'm totally butchering your name, but Diacenda con Propositos.
Yeah.
So what kind of content does she do?
Well, I don't speak Spanish, but a lot of her translated captions were talking about empowering women.
Okay.
So I think she does a lot of content around that.
Right
which
on,
is really
right
cool.
on. Yeah, my Spanish is terrible as well.
Yeah.
You can translate some of the captions on Instagram,
yeah.
but a lot of the content that this Instagram user has is in Spanish, like hard-coded into the photos and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So that one I couldn't quite read, but hopefully she'll be able to make good use of this X2,
Yeah.
and we're looking forward to seeing more about that.
And the last winner is New Rise TV.
Cool, cool. So what does New Rise do?
He makes behind-the-scenes videography services.
Cool, cool, cool. That'd be interesting to see how we can fit in a webcaster into some of the
Yeah.
behind-the-scenes stuff. I think if you have an easy tool like the webcaster, it would really enable you just to do some behind-the-scenes streaming
Yeah.
without a whole lot of fuss or muss on location and just adding that extra angle.
Not worrying about all the extra stuff.
Yeah, totally. If you want to have like a big red button that you can hit though,
Yeah.
you're doing behind-the-scenes stuff just in case. All right, so back to the actual news topics. Now, we were doing some Twitch stuff last week. I was showing off my gaming skills with a little kind of Twitch rig that I had put together, and we had some more interesting news from Twitch. I think it was after last week, or did we talk about it? I might have talked about it last week.
I think you might have
Talked about it. But a pretty big shakeup. Twitch's biggest broadcaster, or their largest user, Ninja, is actually leaving, and he's going to be going over to another platform.
Yeah.
So do you know anything about the other platform?
Mixer?
Yeah, he's going over to Mixer.
I don't know much about it.
So Mixer is not relatively new, but it's Microsoft's live streaming platform. Yeah, it's their version. So this is really going to kickstart Microsoft's kind of presence in the market. And I think he's bringing over like some bazillion users or whatever. So it's definitely
he has a lot of subscribers.
He does have quite a few subscribers. Although apparently he's only got himself to star in his videos because he's like, in this press announcement that he made, he's literally playing like every single character. I think he's even playing I was going to skip forward here. I think he's even playing this Red Bull fridge in there. I'm not sure how you did that.
Product placement.
Yeah, product placement, product placement. So I'm going to bounce back over. Just got to switch over real quick. That's what I didn't actually think about was switching. I have the mirror on there. Now, let's take a look and see if we have any comments going. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was getting paid to play Mario Kart. So that was pretty good. And
Yeah.
quite poorly, actually. Quite poorly. I like the new Mario Kart where you have like the joystick.
Yeah.
Where you can manipulate it
That
more.
one's hard.
I found it really hard on the dial pad. So we've got a few other folks that are tuning in. Life is Mose is saying hi. So hey, Life is Mose, thanks for tuning in today.
Hello. Who else?
Sorry. So I'm a single task kind of guy. I like to read and look at this at once. All right, so I think Linda's kind of letting us in on some more about this gnome, saying that George has the video evidence. I think maybe of me playing video games. Not sure where she's going with that. And Stefan again talking about if Lightroom would work in video. Now I think you can still use some of those same tricks to port over those LUTs, but
Not
again,
everything can be converted.
yeah, exactly. Not everything be converted. So
Like brush
today we're
tools
just
and
talking to
stuff.
our photographer crowds, and
Yeah.
hopefully, if you're doing video, you're probably doing some photography as well, or maybe you started in photos and you're doing video. But we'll definitely cover some cool tips that's
Or you
anyone
can use
really
them
make
for like
use of.
thumbnails or using to promote on your other social medias.
That's actually a really good point. So even though we're not covering something that's super video-centric today, it is another tool that you can use when you're promoting your videos or building those thumbnails. And Linda is wishing a happy birthday to Faithful Mess as well. So hopefully, Faithful Mess, you're watching this right now in the VOD and just turning red with all of this birthday attention that you're
birthday,
getting
yeah.
from all your friends online. Yeah. Linda's saying that George's dad is a Facebook lurker. So I think that's also your dad, Linda? Isn't that your
Yeah,
dad
not just
too?
George's.
And giving that away. All right, so I'm just going to switch us back over here. Now, for anyone that's just tuning in, Zoe's joining us. We're going to be talking about Adobe Lightroom treatments and tips and tricks, and also how to get started with using your DSLR, or really basically any other camera, because a lot of the settings are the same across different things. So why don't you get us started? So what do you have here?
What I use to take photos is I use a 5D Mark III with a 50mm lens with a 1.4. And I also have a mirrorless, which is a Canon M100, but I only brought this one in today because it's my main camera.
Why did your eye roll a little bit there when you said mirrorless?
Uh,
Little eye roll on
well,
mirrorless there.
I don't know. People find it looks like less professional, but I
Okay.
think it works just as well.
Well, and there's some really powerful mirrorless cameras.
Yeah.
I'm just teasing you.
They just
but-
look smaller, so like they look.
Yeah, that's true, and they're lighter. Oh,
So I find
this one is pretty heavy.
people like don't take you as seriously.
I like the nifty 50 on there. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a standard. Well, not a standard lens, but it is
Yeah.
like a great lens to start
Well,
on.
a lot of people, do start on it because it's a really good one.
And it's inexpensive, right? So you can
It's
get
really cheap.
different levels of the 50mm, especially from Canon. I think they have two different models. They have one that's like super expensive. I think it's a 1.8. Is yours a 1.8 as well?
No, mine's a 1.4.
Oh,
But I
1.4.
got it off Kijiji, so it was way cheaper.
Oh, okay. I think this is actually like the more expensive one.
Oh, really?
And then like the one that I have doesn't have this readout on the top.
Oh, cool.
And that one was like super inexpensive. Just when I was starting out with doing photography stuff.
But I would also recommend that you don't get this camera when you're starting because it's a full frame, and so lenses are a lot more pricey. So
Yeah, that's true.
if you
That's
want to
true.
keep your budget lower, I'd go for a different kind of.
So would that be like a micro four thirds camera, or what size do you think?
well,
or
I'd-
even just like what Canon model would you
I'd
recommend?
suggest like the EOS R. I
Okay.
really like that one. That's mirrorless. Or if you want a DSLR, any of the Rebels I think are really good for beginners.
Cool. Yeah, the Rebels are really good. I think, and if you are investing in a camera, then
Yeah.
it's good to invest in a camera that will still have some value too.
Yeah.
So Rebels are pretty inexpensive to get into, and they're also not going to get you any money if you go to sell it later.
Yeah.
So like one good thing about this camera is that
Yeah.
when you do go to move on to the next level, you're probably still going to get a couple of dollars as long as you keep it in pretty good shape,
Yeah.
which it looks to be.
Yeah.
Do you know what this symbol means right here?
No, I actually don't. Or is
So-
that when you're like this thing, or is that different?
No, that's different. That's like the focus. That's
Yeah.
your focus for the eye finder or viewfinder. But you're not gonna be able to see it on screen. But on the camera here, there's a little marker that's a circle with a line through it. So that's actually where the sensor is inside the camera.
Cool.
So if you were to cut this camera like right in half,
It'd be right
then
there.
you'd see right where the sensor is.
That's cool.
And so that'll allow you, just knowing where it is, you can take measurements. So if
Oh,
you take
cool.
like a tape measure, then you can measure what those lengths are if you're doing any calibration or if you need to know kind of what that.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Are. Yeah, I can't remember why I learned that the other day, but I guess you could call that a tip. So you've been doing photography for how long?
Well, I started when I was younger because it was kind of the only thing I was really good at. Like, no one wanted me on their sports team. No one wanted to cheat off my test, but everybody did want me to take their photos.
Cool.
So I kind of just stuck with it, and I was on like social media for my student council, and then, I don't know, I just really like it. It's really fun.
Right on.
So I've been doing it for a while.
Just while you were telling us about your history there, I was looking at a comment from Danny. So Danny was saying that the 50 mil, the 1.4 was once the standard lens on most Canon cameras, and an upgrade over the 50 mil 1.8, which was like a plastic kit. So this is actually like a metal lens as well, or it's a metal housing on there. I think feels like metal. So that's an interesting little factoid there from Danny.
I didn't know that.
Did you do a lot of photography, you said, for the school, like for the school paper, for like...
Well, I managed our Instagram account and made like event recaps of, or like year videos. So my whole school would watch them at the end of the year.
Nice.
And then, and then now I do your guys' Instagram too.
Did you ever have that moment at like a presentation where you go to play the video and the video wasn't working?
Well, like the audio sometimes
the audio wouldn't work.
Because it's all like a bunch of students trying to like plug it all in. So
and then the teacher comes out and we're having some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
I still have nightmares because I did all the AV stuff as a kid as well.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it was a good opportunity to
you learn a lot.
You learn a lot, and it's definitely a good way to learn about the technology, working independently, kind of setting some goals. But yeah, that was like the worst thing that could happen when it wasn't working in front of the whole school, and the one teacher comes up and the technical difficulties.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Throw your shoe at them. Quiet. So what kind of photography do you do now?
I do a lot of portraits,
Okay.
and so since Instagram, a lot of people my age really like just having good Instagram photos. So a lot of the girls I take photos of just want pictures for their Instagram. So it's a lot of like outfit photos, a lot of portraits, a lot of stuff like that. And then I've done weddings too, and I like doing weddings.
So are you like kind of like a Instagram boyfriend for hire almost?
Yeah,
right?
I guess.
Because that's a job, right?
Yeah.
Like you see the girl in the park and she's posing, and then there's this guy who's just like
taking the photo,
holding his iPhone 10.
Basically. When I was in Las Vegas with you guys, a lot of people were asking me, they saw me with my camera and were like, can you take our picture with our phone? And I was like, I should have a shirt that says $5 per photo.
Yeah, exactly. Or you take the camera and then you go to take the photo and then you turn around to run.
Yeah. And
then you take the photo of them like
freaked out. Yeah.
No, that was funny. And actually we did get some looks in Vegas for sure, because I don't know if you can tell from the video, but Zoe is, how tall are you? Like
I'm like 5'5".
5'5", so petite.
Yeah.
And George Herbert and I, George is like 7 foot 9. Like, he's
so
enormous.
Tall.
And so we were walking around Vegas laughing and ha 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 ha, and Zoe's walking behind us with the tripod and the camera and this huge camera rig hanging off, and all these people are looking at us like, what are these jerks doing making
me
this
carry it.
making
No,
this
it's
girl
okay. It wasn't that
around.
heavy.
Well, and that's just it. Actually, Zoe did a really good job. So I, like, by the end of the day running around, everyone is exhausted carrying that camera, and you did a great job with it. Oh, I got some stats. Got some stats for Linda. She's so quick. So obviously George is not 7'9". I don't think he'd be working here. He'd probably be in the NBA or something. But yeah, George is still a towering 6'3". Let's kind of look through the comments and see if there's anything else. So here, why don't I look through here, and why don't you tell us just a little bit more about what you do on Instagram for us as well.
On Instagram, I've made behind-the-scenes videos of when you guys did the Hot Wings Challenge. I did like a little mini studio tour and about how important it is to have like a good background and good setup. Even if it's not very expensive, it's still good to have like a dynamic background to keep people engaged. And yeah, I take a lot of photos around the office, post a lot of stuff from our conventions.
And did you talk about reposting as well?
Oh yeah, I also, whenever you use our hashtags, Epiphan, Webcaster X2, Pearl Mini, or Epiphan Pearl, all of those kind of stuff, I always reblog it onto the story, and then your picture gets to stay on the little highlight.
Right on. And how
All
do you
the
do
time.
that? Like, do you have some kind of notification, or do you have like a...
No,
like
I have to go look through the hashtags like every day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you follow any hashtags?
Yeah, I follow all those hashtags,
Okay.
like all the Webcaster X2, Epiphan.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, it keeps you busy.
Yeah.
Now, Danny actually made a really good point. If you are looking to purchase a Canon T-series camera, so he's saying that there's a lot of time-lapse photographers that use these cameras, and they're going to have high mileage shutters. So that's a really good point, and not just about time-lapse guys, but one of the things you want to look at when you're buying a used camera,
Yes,
especially if
the
you're getting into
shutter
it, is the shutter count.
count.
Because that's going to be crazy high. My shutter count, like on my Sony, for example, is super low because I don't take a lot of photos.
Yeah.
I just use it for video
Mine must
specifically.
be crazy now. It'd be.
Do you know how to check it?
I forget how I checked it last time, but I did it when I first got it,
Oh, okay.
and then I haven't checked it again.
Did you have to could you do it on the camera? Or did you have to plug it
You
into
had to
something
plug
else?
it into
And-
the
okay.
computer. I'm pretty
Cool.
sure.
And there's some cool. I've never tried them. I know there's like another operating system that you can put on here as well. You can load it through a computer. I should have looked that up, but that's kind of a cool hack for
What is it?
Canons as well.
Yeah. We were talking about it at school. Sometimes it can really mess up your camera, though.
Totally, if you
Yeah.
don't do it right, it can actually do a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
So just checking Facebook, still pretty quiet on there. Someone actually deleted their comment. Interesting.
Should I talk about tips for beginners, or should I wait till we start?
No, I'm going to jump right into it.
Okay.
So why don't you tell us some more tips
I
for
forget.
beginners?
Okay, I wasn't sure if that's like where we were at or not. So my tips for beginners is to frame your subject and use your foreground to create depth, because when you have depth in your photo, it makes it a lot more dynamic and makes people feel like they're actually there, because you don't really see things that are just flat. You
So
see
what
them.
do you mean by foreground? Like what would be something in the foreground here?
If you took a photo like from here and the laptop was still in it, that would give you like a foreground object or something
cool.
like that. Or like if you're taking a picture of a building, like you could get a car in it closer, just so it's more.
And would you want that to be in focus as well, or
Usually blurred.
yeah,
Yeah, usually blurred.
kind of give it like a little bokeh, kind of like
Yeah.
a soft bokeh effect? Yeah, that is pretty cool, especially when you're like doing nature shots, or it kind of almost makes you feel like you're spying
Yeah.
on the person, right? Because you're like looking
Through
behind something. So that was cool. Oh, here we go. So Danny's got it, and that is the right name. That's the one I was thinking of. Is Magic Lantern.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so
yeah.
that is the operating system you can throw in there, or
Some of
operating
my
system. I
friends
don't
did
think that's
that.
the right word, but like the
Yeah.
whatever camera thingy. Oh yeah, sorry. Stefan actually called that out first. So sorry, Stefan. So any other tips or tricks for folks that are just starting out with doing photography?
Yeah, I'd say before you buy a camera, make sure you actually really like it and use your phone, because the new phones are actually really powerful, and I find a lot of people look past them, but they're actually a really good place to start. And you could also help decide what kind of camera you want. You can kind of choose between 3 main categories, which is like night/street photography, which you'd want a high ISO and a low aperture lens, but like high ISO camera, low aperture lens.
And what is that ISO?
Oh, I
Like-
forget what it stands
Oh
for.
yeah, not what the acronym does,
Oh,
but like
okay.
what does it control on the camera?
It lets light in, like a certain amount of light. So if like you don't have enough, if your aperture can't open enough, then you could bump it up.
Cool.
Or low enough, or close up.
Well,
enough.
and that's where it's kind of counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
Because like if you have a low aperture, it means that it can bring in a lot of light, it
Yeah.
can open up, and then if you have like a small aperture,
It-
or sorry,
yeah.
like the numbers are backwards.
Yeah, it's
right?
just because I just know, so I just kind of just do it.
It is
It's
very
hard to
confusing.
like kind of explain.
And if you do have a lower aperture on your lens, then you can achieve that shallower depth of field
Yeah.
too, right? So you can get that soft foreground, the soft background, and be really sharp on someone's eyes, and even
Yeah.
their nose is just a little bit out of focus too.
And so that's really good for portrait photographies, is 50 millimeters. And then landscape, you'd want a wide angle lens. So just kind of figure out what you like to take photos of, and then that would be a lot easier to decide what kind of camera and what kind of lens you want.
Totally. Totally. Stefan's made a good point. There's lots of adapters that you can use. So, oops. Let me just get that other one out of there. So you can get a lot of different adapters. So I think Metabones makes a lot of cool adapters where you can get like a larger lens down to a micro four thirds, or even vice versa if you want to use those micro four thirds lenses, or you can even find old adapters for old lenses.
Yeah.
So there'll see some really cool photography where someone will find like an old Russian lens from like 1890 or whatever, and they're taking some really cool photos on it. All right, well, any other tips and tricks for users, or sorry, for someone just starting out?
I'd say also take all your photos in RAW, just so it's easier to edit later in Lightroom. You can do more with it, and you can change the exposure by a couple stops.
Cool. Marta's saying to stop clicking your pen.
Oh, I'm sorry, Marta. I put it away.
Yeah,
I put it away.
I should just do it.
Should I?
Just to annoy Marta. All right.
I'm nervous. This is my first time on here.
No, it is very...
Or second? My second time.
We literally have dozens of viewers, so you should be very nervous. You probably don't. Do you get that reference? Maybe not. No? There's literally dozens of us.
No.
I'll tell you about it later.
Okay.
All right, so what's the next thing we're going to talk about? Are we going to dive into anything yet? Or we've talked about your ideal gear setup, anything about your camera? Oh, sorry, you're talking about shooting in RAW.
Yeah.
So what are more of the benefits of shooting in RAW?
You can totally change like how the exposure is and that kind of stuff. Up it a few stops, take it down by a few stops. You can also, like, the quality is just a lot better, and you can blow it up a lot bigger.
Right on. Do you ever shoot in like a log format in RAW so that you can do a lot of adjustments later? Or do you do a lot of your settings in camera for like color balance and temperature and everything?
I do a lot of it in camera.
Okay, cool. Just like based off of what the scene is and stuff?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, and that log treatment can be pretty advanced, and it also affects the range that you can shoot on too. So if you're shooting in log, then you may not have as wide a range, especially within your ISO. Linda, that's a long comment. I'll get back to it later. All right, so what else is there? Oh, and sorry, any good tips about why you'd want to keep your camera strap on?
Well, for me, I don't have a stabilizer yet, so when I'm shooting video, I tend to like stick it out really far, and then with 60 frames per second, you can normally just make it look like you have a stabilizer when you don't.
Totally, and that's a great tip, especially when you're looking at investing in a stabilizer. It's like $500 or $600 even for kind of an entry-level one.
Yeah.
And you can get really expensive stabilizers, and really you've got this stabilizer right on the camera already.
Obviously, you can't like jump up and down with it, but it really helps.
Now this is really important. Linda is meeting with a plumber, so she's got to go.
Okay.
I thought I would just share that
Bye,
with
Linda.
everybody. Yeah, bye, Linda. We'll see you soon. Hopefully get your plumbing sorted out. Now, what is the next thing that we were going to jump into? I think we're probably going to take a look at some treatments.
Some photos?
Cool. So bear with me for just a sec. I'm going to flip us over to the Zoe layout. So Zoe's going to, or sorry, why don't you explain, actually, before we jump into this layout, what you're going to be doing?
Sure. So I'm just going to be showing you guys how I edit my Instagram photos. I have my Instagram pulled up here. So this is kind of like the look I go for, and I have a preset that I made to achieve this look so that all my photos kind of fit the same feel. So I have this filter that I made called Break from Toronto because I made it on the flight to Las Vegas.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But I like to take down the blues a lot when I'm shooting something without blues or greens.
Okay.
So when there's a lot of blues or greens, I tend to bump them back up.
And did you say where this photo was taken?
Oh, it was at Las Vegas when we went to NIB.
Right on. So yeah, that's that looks like the eye in there. And did you add those lines in, or is that?
No, that's like there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna take them out, but then I decided not to.
Cool.
But I like to play around with the highlights and bring them down a lot and bring up the shadows so that you can really see what's going on in the front.
Now, I forgot to write you a note for this, but why don't you zoom in on the keyboard so that folks can see what you're looking at on the controls? It was option, yeah, there you go.
There we go.
On the 8.
So here is the highlights that I bump up, or down, sorry, and then I bump the shadows up. I sometimes play with the whites and the blacks, but not a lot because since this is a preset that I made, it's usually just how I like it.
So you're not going to just take the same preset and throw it onto all your photos,
No.
save it, and walk away?
No.
No.
No. You have to like, it's a good starting place, but like you obviously don't want to just do that.
Cool.
And a lot of people actually sell their presets online. So a lot of Instagrammers will sell them, and you make like a good side amount of money.
What's his name? You met him? in
Peter
Vegas?
McKinnon.
Yeah, I bought some of Peter McKinnon's.
Peter McKinnon's.
Presets. They're awesome.
Yeah, they're
very
really
cool.
good.
And they have like, it's funny because you said Break from Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
They have some of the same kind of naming convention. Where
Oh,
it, like,
really?
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right, but it makes sense
For
when
them.
you use it.
Yeah.
So yeah, names are interesting.
Yeah, it's fun to name them. It's like naming makeup. They always have weird names.
This is a good question from Danny. Does Lightroom have Gamut alarms?
Don't know what that means.
That's okay. That's okay. I don't know either. That's something I'll have to look up. I'm not sure if it does have any Gamut
No.
alarms. So would that be if you go too high or too low? Is that what you're thinking of, Danny? You can just throw that
Yeah,
in the chat.
maybe.
Or if anyone else knows on the chat if Lightroom has Gamut alarms. But yeah, I
I
don't know.
don't actually go to school for this, so just saying.
Is this something you're going to learn more about this year, maybe?
No, because I'm
No?
in video production, so
Right,
all of
right.
this I've taught myself from YouTube videos and learning from other creators online
Cool.
and
Cool.
workshops. So I'm not actually trained, just
Fair
by the
enough.
way.
Fair enough.
So this would be what I would probably do for a landscape photo, but I'm gonna move on to a portrait that I'm not gonna put my preset on, I'm just gonna edit.
Right on. That's a great photo.
Thank you. So I'm gonna kind of change the white balance just a little bit warmer. I'm going to take the highlights down a bit and bring up the shadows a tiny bit.
And Danny just threw an answer on there. So Gamut alarm is when you crush blacks to 0 or bump whites to 255. So that would be like if you go beyond, I think, what the normal threshold would be,
Normal is.
or if you go out of like a good range. So that's a great point.
Yeah.
So sometimes you'd want to do that to achieve a certain look, right? If you want to blow it out to overexpose the photo, maybe put some other treatment on it to make it look that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think Lightroom does any of that because it's
No.
kind of assuming that you're knowing what you're doing.
Yeah. And, oh, I don't know what I was gonna say.
That's okay.
Sorry.
I always like when I'm doing photos, that's usually like the first thing that I'll go for is like bringing those blacks up and maybe bringing the contrast.
And you can
the
always like
contrast up as
see
well.
too when it's like way too much.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
see.
you get a good eye for it. Are you treating a raw photo right now?
Yes, I
Okay,
am.
cool.
That first one wasn't raw though. This one's a JPEG.
Oh, okay, cool.
But this one is raw. I also like to change the color hues a lot, or the temperatures and stuff, and the luminance. But I like to make my photos really orange, and more orange than they actually are. And I also like to take down the saturation.
Will you do anything? I don't want to get into because I know you're going to be covering some of this later, but will you do any masking around faces to not bring that orange down, or bring the orange up in a face, or will you just kind of bring
sometimes
it
I do.
over all over? Okay.
Sometimes I do, and then sometimes I use the brush tool to really get into where I want it.
Right
But
on.
what I'm actually going to do with the brush tool is I zoom in really close to their eyes, and I take the brush tool, and I'm going to make it a little bigger, and I'm just going to paint on her eye right here. And it looks a little crazy at the start, then you bring it down a little, and then when you zoom out, it really brings out their eyes. Even that's like too much, but. And then you can make it like really blue if you want, or like yellow, but like,
Ugh.
yeah. I wouldn't recommend doing that, but you can if you want to.
Too yellow.
Yeah. And then I would also do it on the other eye over here, so she's not just one eye.
Is there a way in Lightroom to do both eyes at the same time, or do you have to treat one and then treat the other one?
Well, when you're zoomed in really close, you can, or like this, you can do both.
Okay.
But they're under the same brush stroke. So if you see this right here, that means there's a brush stroke there. But if you click done and then create a new brush stroke over here, you can see the new one.
Oh, you can isolate those brush strokes and treat
Separately.
those differently, but
Yeah.
have multiple brush strokes under the same treatment?
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
Cool.
I also like to play with the tone curves and stuff like that. and bring up the highlights a little. The darks. I think I'm gonna also change the green to more of like a yellowy to more complement and kind of bring down the saturation. And that's the before and that's the after.
Sweet. How are you toggling between those two?
What is that? This key?
Oh, the backwards bracket?
Yep.
Which one?
That one?
Oh yeah, so backwards bracket.
Backwards bracket?
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah. The next photo that we can edit is a more green one. So when I do take green photos, I would start by doing the same thing to the eye.
Maybe like perfect focus on her eye right there.
I took this one on a mirrorless camera.
Oh, okay, cool. What kind of camera are you using for this photo?
The Canon M100. So it's
Okay.
really little, and I really like it.
Right on.
And then I'm going to bring up the highlights a little bit, or the exposure a little.
I was actually looking at this one here. The,
That looks bad.
RX 100 Mark 7. It's a new one that's coming out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's got a huge cannon on it that just like tucks right back down into the body. And it'd be good for just throwing it in your pocket and having to carry around.
Yeah, that's what I really like about the M100 is it just fits in your purse. Well, I guess you don't have a purse, but you know
Well, I
what
wouldn't
mean.
assume anything.
Okay, sorry.
I have a man bag.
Immerse?
Immersed. Just like Indiana Jones, actually.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones had a man bag, so nothing wrong about that.
No, nothing. I'm just saying. I could probably do it a lot better, but I don't want to spend too much time just playing with the eye and not talking. So
Yeah, I could probably fill in a little bit of the space.
Yeah.
What's so where did you shoot these photos?
This photo was at my house. We have a lot of ferns in my front yard,
Cool.
so I took them there.
You didn't like pull the fern leaves out to take this photo, did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
But are they weeds?
Depends on how you look at it, I guess.
It's at my house.
Fair
I'm allowed
enough.
to do what I want. No,
You
I'm
can
just
destroy
kidding.
your own ferns.
Yeah.
It's for the gram. It's for the gram.
Yes.
Now, is this young girl or this young lady? Is she on Instagram? Is this one of your?
Yeah, this is my sister. Her name's
Oh,
Sophie.
right on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Her name's Sophie. This girl is a model though. Her name's Jamie. She's one of my friends though.
Kind of sounds like a Brooke Shields thing.
Yeah, she looks like Cara Delevingne.
Cara Delevingne.
Do you know who that is?
Oh, I do. Also add that to my search history.
I think I might put my preset on this one. Oh. So yeah, you can't just
So what
put
happened there?
you can't just put the preset on. You have to play with it.
Okay. Oh yeah, she
'Cause
does
if
look
you
like
do-
Cara Delevingne. Now that's a good example of like you can't just throw your preset on
Yeah.
and walk away, right? Because you've
'Cause-
got a lot of stuff that's going to pull up those greens and just crush those right down.
Yeah, so you gotta fix them. And I also tend to bring down the saturation a little bit. And if it's too blue, then I like to bring up the temperature a little.
Can you turn your zoom back on just so?
Oh yeah,
anyone
sorry.
that's watching. No, it's okay. I know it makes it harder for you to use the program, but
Yeah.
it'd be good for anyone that's trying to figure out where you're clicking on the screen there. When I was at NAB, I went to a few different sessions, and a couple of these guys are really good at like toggling that back and forth, and then they would like crash zoom in on the screen to do one thing, and then come
Oh,
back
wow.
out. It's like it's one thing to present, but then also to like zoom in and out
And
on your
edit,
screen is
yeah.
pretty skill.
So then that's probably where I would stop for this photo.
Now, you pulled a lot of green out of that fern.
Mm-hmm.
Like it almost looks like her hair. Like it's like, is it almost brown now, or still pretty green?
Yeah, I think it's pretty green. Wait, what do you mean? Like over here?
Well, just like, and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. It's just like you pulled a lot of the saturation out of the plant.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just find I like that look
Cool.
a lot.
Well, it definitely like it makes her eyes pop a lot more.
And I just like the desaturated look. And I think a lot of people do too, because a lot of people ask me what my filter is, and I get to say I made it. So
I
it's
made it.
always fun.
It's the between, or no, what did you call it again? leaving Toronto.
Oh yeah, breaking from Toronto.
Breaking from Toronto. That's cool.
The next one I'll edit is this one, and this one is one of my clients that I took photos for. So I just put my preset on it, and then change the grain because it's way too high.
Turn your magnification on.
Oh, yep.
So I've actually noticed that with some of your photos. So you do add a little bit of grain.
Yeah, and I also enable lens correction.
Okay. And what does that do?
It just makes the photo more flat, so
Okay.
you can see like the before and after. Your lens just kind of warps the photo a little.
Yeah, it almost looks like the lens is breathing. Like when you see that
Yeah.
like lens breathing between there.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna go back up here.
So Stefan is saying Cara who? I'll post that on the comments here real quick. I will not post this link to inside Cara Delevingne's hedonist LA mansion. That's kind of risky.
Or just like put her name in so they can look her up if they want.
Yeah, exactly. I just threw it out there so our mods can post that in the chat.
The next thing I would do is probably play with the oranges a little bit, make them a little more yellow.
Yeah, when I looked away for a minute and you've really made that lens flare pop.
Yeah.
Like that adjustment has really pulled out that lens flare
Right
just in
here.
front of her. Behind her and then that.
This one here too,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I really like playing with lens flares and adding them because it's something really fun that you can just do in the moment.
Stefan he's got a good point. You are kind of doing plastic surgery on the photos.
Yep.
Right? And it doesn't stop at just doing color correction and tweaking the eyes. You can also get in like with Photoshop and do some adjustments on like the crow's feet and laugh lines, and you can get like really detailed in there.
Yeah, you totally change it. Like I know a lot of people like to just keep their photos the way they shot them, but for me the best part is the editing part.
Yeah.
I really like to edit my photos, and I know a lot of people don't, but I really do. So that's...
Well, it adds a level of personalization and your
Yeah.
own style, and you can definitely develop that look. So it's not just whatever random color you're bringing into the camera when you shot it.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. Where did you shoot this photo here?
On a tennis court.
Oh, okay, right
Yeah.
on. Not on like a highway.
No.
It looks like it might be on a road.
A tennis court.
Do you ever make adjustments so that the yes, I am talking about Cara Delevingne. Am I even saying that right? How do you say that? Cara
Delevingne?
Delevingne. Okay. Yes. That's who Zoe was talking about. I've seen her before, but I didn't know her by name.
If you look up the photo, that's who she is.
Yeah, exactly. This Brooke Shields looking girl.
Yeah.
Now, do you ever make adjustments to the horizon to make it straight, or is that something that you ever worry about in photos?
Yeah, I wonder if I have one.
Well, the one that we were just looking at on the tennis court.
Oh, yeah, I guess I could fix this one. Yeah, you're right. So when you click this tool up here, this one,
Okay.
You can take the photo and you can...
Is that the crop tool there?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
crop, and you can also mess with it this way.
Right on.
So you can line up the road with one of the lines, and that will give you a really good where the horizon is.
Yeah, a little bit like it would kind of correct not the symmetry of the photo, but just correct that natural kind of line.
So especially with landscapes, that's really helpful.
Yeah, that would be more
Yes.
important. And like, because if you put something on an angle, you could be adding like a specific kind of look and feel to it.
Yeah, that you're not really
depending-
meaning to.
Exactly, that you're not meaning to. So
Yeah. How many more can I edit?
I don't know, where are we at? Oh, it's already 3:45. Why don't we look at doing one more?
Okay,
So
cool.
what's another photo that we haven't really looked at? We looked at a landscape. We looked at a really good close up. We have this full body shot.
Oh, I have
What's another one?
I got to take photos at Blues
cool.
Fest this year, which was really exciting. It was really fun, and so this is Logic. So
With a K.
No.
Logik?
No.
No? Okay.
Logc. No, IC.
Oh, okay. Just regular Logic.
Yeah, just
Oh,
regular
okay.
Logic.
Okay.
So I would, if it was for my Instagram, I'd put the filter on.
Cool.
I would.
And just like right out of
Enable.
camera, that's a pretty good photo.
Yeah.
For, like SOC.
It just kind of sucked because my telephoto lens is really like it doesn't have a low aperture, so
Okay.
it made it really grainy, which really sucked.
What's the aperture on your telephoto lens?
I think like 2 something.
2.8 or something?
Yeah. I got it for like $100 though off Kijiji, so it was good for the price.
Yeah.
But
Well, and this is still an awesome shot.
I really like it. But yeah, I hate how you can see all that, but it's whatever.
Yeah. When you're adding a little bit of green too, so that can kind of cover up for the additional ISO.
That's why I also like the green too, because you can cover that kind of stuff.
Some of that.
I'd probably bring up the whites just a little so you can see more of the like smoke.
Yeah, and it's bringing those stage lights up too. That's kind of like adding a little bit more of a concert look to
vibe.
it.
Yeah.
And did you bring the blacks? Are you bringing the blacks up as well?
I brought them down a little bit, but you
okay.
could bring them up if you wanted to. But I like to bring them. Down.
Cool.
A little for this one.
Yeah, really like gets a good frame on the bottom of the black there.
And that's also good for like framing, because then it gives them some depth that he's not just standing there. It's really hard to talk and edit at the same time.
Oh, it's impossible, and I'm not helping at all either. So no, this is a really good shot, and it is tough to do that, and especially live, right?
Yeah.
Because if you do all this in post, you can go back and change what you're talking about, but you kind of want to get into the zone. So have you posted this photo on Instagram? Have you shared it yet?
Yeah, I did. I posted it. Oh, I posted it in a bunch. So this is one of my photos. Oh, no. Here's one.
I like the treatment on that versus what you just did live.
Yeah.
Like kind of making it more gray.
Gray.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so that's the one I posted, and then, well, one of them, and that one.
Right on.
So yeah.
Yeah, you can really see just by like, if you scroll kind of up and down quickly, you can see that style that you've developed on your Instagram.
Yeah. And
These
a lot
wedding photos are beautiful.
These are actually prom photos.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I was going to say these kids look really young.
Yeah. No, they're not getting married. They're prom photos, but yeah.
Right on. Cool. Well, is there anything else you want to share? Any other tips and tricks you might have?
Not really, but follow me on Instagram.
Yeah. Well, what's your Instagram handle?
It's Zoe Akiko right
Zoe
here.
Akiko. Now, I asked you this initially because it's not your real last name.
No.
What does Akiko mean?
Well, it's actually my middle name, so my first name's just Zoe, and middle name's Akiko. And my last name's Amiot, but I never really use it, so.
And I just gave your first and middle and last name
away
out on YouTube.
Yeah.
Nice knowing you, Zoe.
Cameron Rose is out there, though.
But they don't know my middle name.
No.
That's almost a secret. All right, Zoe, well, thank you very much for sharing your tips and tricks with us today. If you have any other comments or questions, please feel free to throw them up on the chat. And of course, if you do have any comments for Zoe, you could reach her on Instagram. And of course, if you want to hire Zoe for your next gig or doing some photos or anything, look her up on Instagram.
Yeah.
If you want to fly her all the way out to Germany.
Yep.
Stefan, I don't know if that's in your budget or not.
You should.
All right, folks. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. Do you know what next week's episode is?
Oh, I read it, but I forget.
That's okay. So next week, we're going to be going over
top 8 cameras or something?
The 8 best webcams for live streaming. Yep. So we're actually going to be taking a look at a recent blog that one of our brand new writers wrote and doing a little bit of an in-depth dive. And we should have a new webcam to play around with. I don't want to say it, or maybe I should. I don't know. I just got the shipping confirmation. It should be here on Tuesday. But PTZ Optics has actually sent us their brand new webcam. I don't think you can even buy this webcam yet.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think
Probably
you can.
not.
You might be able to buy it now if you're watching this VOD in like 2021. But as of right now, on whatever date it is today, August
7th? 8th.
I was going to say August 27th, but it's 27 degrees outside. And yeah, right now you can't buy it, I don't think. But please make sure to tune in next week. Thank you everyone so much for watching. And I'm going to slyly, this is hard. Lisa, if you're watching, I miss you so much. And not just because you're really much better at switching than I am. But please make sure to tune in next week. We're live every week at 3 p.m. on Thursday. That's 3 p.m. Eastern. And of course, you can watch us on YouTube.
Twitch.
LinkedIn.
Facebook.
And I don't know.
Is that it?
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Mixer, maybe?
No, not Mixer. We were doing Twitter for a little while, but I didn't know where the Twitter videos were going.
Yeah.
I was streaming on Twitter, and then I couldn't find them, so I gotta try that again. But thank you very much, and thank you for explaining all your tips and tricks today, Zoe.
No problem.
That was great.